Oh, we back. We back. Welcome to Plainly Human. I'm a plain ass, old ass human coming at you right now. And we're about to get a little personal right now, okay? I'm going to talk about a little bit of my story. I'm going to be talking about what led up to my journey being where I am today. And I'm essentially going to talk about the day that I lost her. And by her, I mean my ex-partner. Now, this person was my first real love. I spent 6 years of my life with this woman who treated me like I was worth something. You know, she treated me like a damn king. The massages, the scratches, the cooking, the beer runs for me, like everything. She was a genuinely good woman and she was good to me. And as for me, I'm going to be straight with you. I was a mess. When I met her, I was drinking every single day. I was smoking weed every single day. And those habits, they didn't just affect my body, they affected everything. They affected my temper, my focus. And, you know, when you're filling yourself up with poison every day, it comes out. It really does. And, you know, it comes out as bitterness. It comes out as anger. It comes out as projection, especially if one has issues that they have been using these substances to cope with. Like I did, right? Issues from my past and my childhood and my upbringing, all that jazz. So that bitterness came out. And I wasn't only like this to the people that I loved, but to myself. I was a very harsh critic of everything that I did. I would always be down on myself. And essentially the way that I treated myself, I would treat others. And you know, I've had big ideas. I've always had big ideas about what it is I want to do with my life, where it is that I want to end up, but I could never execute. And that's because of what my daily destructive habits did to me. They didn't just slow me down, they kept me dormant. And they made me someone that I just didn't even recognize anymore. And I started becoming complacent. I started becoming very comfortable. And especially when I moved on to get a new day job that wasn't as physically demanding as my last day job. And so when I started working my new job, I kept drinking every day, smoking weed every day. And I would reach breaking points where I was just kind of tired of these habits with who I was. And I would project it onto her. Basically, what would transpire is it would get to a point where I would tell her to leave if she wasn't willing to make the changes that I needed her to change. And this would happen, it happened over 3, 4, probably more times. And every time that I would say it, she would vow to change and she would want to stay. And we would keep hitting these loops where I was putting pressure on her to be how I wanted her to be, but I was not putting enough work on myself because I had become this piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this woman kept choosing me. She kept choosing me over and over, even when I wasn't choosing myself. Man, that shit is crazy. And then it finally happened. She decided to leave. And I would tell myself, you know, I'm fine with it. I kept on drinking, I kept on smoking, a little less, but I kept on with it. And what I didn't really know is that I was about to hit one of the hardest walls that I've ever hit in my life, believe me. And it wasn't necessarily this breakup that led to this wall. It was seeing myself clearly, seeing what I had become and seeing who I was before I started these destructive habits. And let me tell you, that shit shook me. It shook me down to my core. And you know those 5 stages of grief, like denial, anger, depression, acceptance. I freaking speed ran those all of a sudden, man. I remember one day it's like it all hit me at once. I started replaying everything. And not through my eyes and my version that was so clouded because of the drinking and the smoking every day, right? But through her point of view and what she tolerated being with someone like me. And damn, man, let me tell you, I was the one that needed to change. I believe that I actually went through what is known as a dark night of the soul. Hell, I probably went through many of those during this time period. I ain't even gonna lie to you right now. I mean, I freaking cried, I regretted, I tried to reach out, tried to get back to her, tried to get her back, even though I was the one that told her to leave, right? But she was gone. That was it. She was beginning her process of healing and moving forward without me. And see, something shifts. Something just shifts when you can't run from the things that you've done. When the substances get quieter, your mind gets louder, because my mind was screaming, all right? It was going wild. This right here is where the beginning of the work actually started for me. It was right here. It was in the middle of this mess, in the middle of my grueling, just back and forth that I constantly had throughout this time period, deep down within. So before we move on to that part of this video, if you're still here, if this is something that's landing with you, please drop a comment below, because I want to hear from y'all. Okay, I want to know where you are in your story right now. Are you in the loop that I was in? Are you in the dark night of the soul? Are you already on the other side? Let me know. Let me know. I'd like to know. I'm really interested in hearing other people's story. And so the work. Here's what I had to lean on when the floor fell out from under me. I've typically always been a very logically minded person. I do enjoy my solitude. And so during my mid-20s, I'd gotten into mindfulness and meditation, and I wasn't consistent with it, but the foundation was there. And during these moments of darkness, I really had to lean into these teachings. And so what I did is I started reading about psychology, I started reading about cognitive therapy, and I started asking myself, why? Why is it that I am the way that I am? Why am I such an angry little bitch? Why am I such a bitter bitch? Okay, what has caused me to not only become this way, but to cope using substances? And why are they ruling my life so much? When you stop numbing yourself and you start actually looking, the answers are not gonna be comfortable. And so I went through some very profound moments of introspection. I had to really look at my life, look at all the traumas that had affected me, and I had to just accept what had happened. And I had to realize that that wasn't what was going to define me. You know, there's this saying that I love that I saw in that Kung Fu Panda movie. I always know where it comes from, but it goes like this.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
And so I had to put that quote into perspective, okay? I had to tell myself, your past is history, man, and you do not know what your future is gonna look like right now. So focus on the now. Use your now to redefine yourself and redefine what it is that you want to be. I have never been a person that has had a sense of direction. I didn't have any direction growing up, unfortunately, and I've had to really fall and fail and go through a lot of suffering to even be where I am today, which is not far. But here I am nonetheless. And I'm hoping that maybe this video will serve as a cautionary tale for others that might find themselves in similar patterns. And so, you know, I had to get through my issues, get through my traumas, and I had to do things that were difficult. I had to cut off my group of friends because my group of friends were just more or less engaging in the same behaviors that I was engaging in. And additionally, I had to have some really difficult conversations with my closest family members. And these were the kind of conversations that feel like they're going to break everything. But once we got through it, they didn't. If anything, these conversations pulled us closer together. And I'm going to be honest, if it wasn't for them, I would have sought help. I would have probably seen a therapist, something that I have never done in my life. And things slowly started to shift from there. It was less drinking, less smoking, more reading, more stillness. I was losing weight slowly, you know, but it was without even trying. But honestly, slow didn't feel like enough for me, you know what I'm saying? I needed a moment. I needed a decision. I needed a line. Now we fast forward, you know, I go through all my bullshittery, whatever, and I start making these very slow progressive changes. And we fast forward to around November of 2025. And it's gonna sound very simple, maybe even too simple. But just stick with me, okay? Because this happens. This does happen. And so for me, it's like a switch just flipped. It wasn't dramatic. I had already reached my rock bottom, in my opinion, but it wasn't an extravagant rock bottom. It was more like I just woke up. I was just done with the version of myself that let the best things in his life walk right out the freaking door. Now, does that mean that I was perfect from that day on? Hail to the no. Hail no, man. But that was the decision. And this decision was for real this time, for realsy. That's when I started counting my calories, and I remember, it's so crazy. I just remember during one of the final days that I was drinking, I remember telling myself like, oh, you know, maybe I could just take into account the calories of the beer, and as long as I don't eat this much later, you know, the calories will level out. But listen, man, if that's you, if you are trying to lose weight and you're counting calories and you're taking into account calories of your alcohol, yo, just ask yourself why it is that you are drinking. Just do it, man. Get through that hurdle, get through that grind, and just stop doing that shit every day, man. I do know that it can be dangerous, especially if you are addicted, like severely addicted to alcohol. So that 1%, just start with that 1%. And if that means talking to someone, seeking help to help start preparing a plan, just go for it, man. Just take the plunge. Do it, man, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to change your life. So I started actually educating myself on how to take care of this body, this temple that I had been ransacking and destroying for years, man. I would go as far as to say that I spent my entire 20s destroying my body and just going down this damn spiral. But no more, no more. Especially when I don't even have my shit together, man. Come on. You gotta get your shit together if you're gonna be partying. And even then, you do it in moderation. Sheesh. But anyways, then came December, and that's when I made the decision. All right, time to get a gym membership. I started hitting the gym 3 times a week, you know, anywhere from 2.5 hours a day. And I've been consistently doing that ever since. And we are now in May of 2026. And I'm not sitting here telling you that I've got it all figured out. I still have my days, but my off days, those are not my normal anymore. This right here is my normal now. Being healthy and self-improving and being about my purpose, which is creation, becoming financially independent, and hopefully retiring early. Through this grueling grind, I was able to see a purpose. Not only see a purpose, but begin cultivating that purpose. See, sometimes the thing that we're most afraid of is losing, but sometimes losing is what sets us free. So don't give up on yourself, all right? Just start with a chip. 1%. Chip, chip, chip away every single day. And if one day you manage not to chip, that's okay. Begin anew the next day. Chip, chip, chip. Because guess what? In 3 months, that 1% daily, it compounds into something that you will not recognize. And here I am to prove it to you. I am moving forward. I am grinding. Let's catch some lightning. Oh, and one more thing. If you want to watch a video about discipline, my new system as to how to get shit done, look around. It's somewhere on this screen somewhere. Click on it, tap on it, so that you can get that little extra push you might need today. I shall see you later.